There are some amazing cycling destinations out there. Breathtaking mountains, scenic coastal roads, and even cobbled bergs just waiting to be discovered and ridden. But when it comes to travelling with your bike, it's not as easy as just chucking it all in a suitcase. So in this video, I'm going to make sure that travelling with your bike goes smoothly and giving you lots of tips and tricks for when it comes to heading away on your holidays. First up, travelling with your bike isn't always necessary. A lot of popular cycling destinations provide places where you can hire bikes, so if travelling with a bike isn't really your thing, don't worry, you can still go riding abroad. One of the very first things you need to do when you're booking your plane ticket and your bags and your seat, you need to book the bike on as well. You can just book it a seat and that'll be fine. Only joking, you need to book it under special sporting equipment, and the cost of this will vary from every different airline, but it doesn't cost too much. Hopefully your bike is already insured. If it's not, it is a good idea to get insured if you plan on travelling with it. Some policies offer cover for one trip or multiple trips depending on how often you plan on travelling, and just make sure all eventualities are covered, like the airline losing the bag or damaging it. Right, before we get on to packing our bikes, we need to make sure our bikes are clean and in good working order. You want a clean bike because you're going to be taking things like your pedals and your derailleur off, and you don't want to get all mucky, stinking hands. And you want to make sure your bike is in good working order, because the last thing you want is to unpack your bike the other side and find out that something's worn or something's not working, and it will ruin your cycling holiday, and you might not be able to find the right components abroad where you're going. So make sure everything is working before you leave. You could even go as far as taking your bike into a local bike shop for a service before you go. Next up, you're going to need a big old suitcase or bike bag or bike box. There are plenty to choose from. You can even hire them if you don't plan on going abroad with your bike that often. So that's always a good idea to save you buying one. But yeah, they come in all different shapes and sizes. You can get hard shell ones like this one or soft cases. I've used both in the past, but today I'm using this one from Copious, and it's called Paco X, and it's got wheels on the bottom, which is very nice to glide through the airport. Don't have to lug it or drag it. So to pack my Copious bike box, I'm going to need to take off my handlebars, take my pedals off, my wheels, and depending on how tall you are, you might need to take the saddle out, but mine seems to fit okay, so I'm going to leave that in. But if you do take just one bit of advice from this video, I hope this is going to be it. Always take your derailleur off. Don't be lazy and leave it on and risk it. Learn from my lessons, because if you do that, you risk getting to your cycling holiday with a bent derailleur, or even worse, snapped. And essentially it will ruin your holiday. So please learn from my lesson and don't do it. So first I'm going to start by taking my pedals off, because that's always done easiest when the wheels are still in the bike. Then I'll take everything else off and get it into this bad boy. Let's go. So to protect my brakes, in case my levers accidentally get pressed, I've just jammed a bit of cardboard in between the brakes in there, so that's going to protect them on the flight as well. So I don't have to open them up when I get to the other side. Save a bit of faff. Top tip. So my bike is all packed up. I've used some foam covering to protect the frame and lots of blankets. I've packed my derailleur in a towel, so there's no chance that's getting broken. But if you are obviously travelling away, make sure you make the most of the room you have in your bike box. Chuck some of your extra clothes in there, and you can pop your cycling shoes as well. And just use things to pad it out so your bike is definitely going to be safe. But make sure to double check the weight limit on your box as well, because you don't want to get to the airport and then have to take a load of stuff out. Once you've been dropped off at the airport, go to check in as normal, and they will normally send you to oversized baggage after you've checked in your other luggage. You can drop your bike off there, and then it's easy. It's time to go and relax and get on the plane. Now when it comes to collecting your bike, it will vary at each airport, but usually there will be a dedicated oversized belt where your bike will come out of, and it should be well signed. But other times it might come out on the belt with the other luggage, and sometimes a little minion will pop out from behind the doors with your bike and drop it off for you. When it comes to unpacking your bike, make sure you give it a really thorough check over to make sure nothing was damaged on the flight, because sometimes they can get a little bit thrown around. I once unpacked my bike after a flight and my carbon handlebars were completely crushed to bits, so we don't want that. Once you've built up your bike and it's all checked over, you're ready to head out on a ride. Enjoy your holiday. Just repeat the exact same process on the way back, but remember to be just as careful packing up your bike. Just because your holiday's over, you still want to continue riding your bike when you get home. What an amazing trip that was. I do love taking my bike abroad, and I hope this video has helped you and given you some tips the next time you come to taking your bike abroad. But if you do have any of your own tips and tricks, then leave them down in that comment section below. And if you did enjoy the video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Bella. Oregano.